A few days ago, I discovered the Hackintosh community, a community where people install macOS on non-Apple hardware. And somehow, people are getting the latest version of macOS running on hardware Apple never intended it to run on. But Hackintoshes are incredibly cursed. Sometimes everything works perfectly, and sometimes everything completely breaks. So I got curious. Could I install macOS on my PC? Is my hardware even compatible? And after trying this for the past few days, let me tell you, this was way more painful than I expected. Luckily, the Reddit community had an installation guide. OpenCore is what we refer to as a bootloader, a complex piece of software that we use to prepare our systems for macOS. Okay, so I think OpenCore is a bootloader for macOS. A bootloader is a small program that starts your operating system when you turn on your computer. So I think this OpenCore bootloader will help us booting up the macOS. Let's see. Prerequisites: time and patience. I think I have some patience. Know your hardware. I already know my hardware, no need to worry about that. A basic knowledge of command lines, Ethernet connection, proper OS installation. Okay, I think I'm ready to create this OpenCore bootloader. But how do I do it? After spending 30 minutes reading the installation guide, I realized creating an OpenCore bootloader manually was way more complicated than I expected. So instead of becoming a Hackintosh engineer overnight, I looked for an easier option and found this tool called OpenCore Simplify, a tool designed to simplify the process of creating an OpenCore EFI. And by the way, EFI is basically the folder that contains all the files your computer needs to boot macOS using OpenCore. So let's run this OpenCore Simplify tool and see if it actually makes creating the EFI folder any easier. Okay, we have some options and I have to select an option. I think the first thing that I need to do is to generate a hardware report to check if my hardware is compatible or not. So let's select the option 1. Drag and drop your hardware report or type E to export. I don't have a hardware report, so I guess I should go with E. And it's downloading a hardware sniffer. And now exporting the hardware report automatically. Well, that's convenient. Let's see what this hardware report says. My CPU looks fine, it's compatible with the latest version of macOS, and everything else also looks fine to me except my graphic card. Yes, I'm using GTX 1060. And according to this report, the maximum support is only for macOS High Sierra 10.13. Why does this feel like such an old version of macOS? Maybe 16 years old. Maybe I can install macOS 15 instead using some OCLP compatibility stuff. Wait, Tahoe is version 26 and this one is 15. Does that mean this macOS version is like 11 years old? I really don't want to go through all this effort just to install something that old. How old is macOS 15? Oh, it's just 2 years old. That will work. Press enter to continue. Okay. As expected, I don't see macOS Tahoe 26 here because my hardware is not compatible. So let's go with macOS Sequoia because it's not that old. It's literally the version right before Tahoe. But the default is set to macOS Sierra cause that's the one that's most compatible. But I'll take my chances and go with Sequoia. Select required kernel extensions. The first option gives me support for features like universal clipboard and instant hotspot support, but it's probably less stable compared to the second option. But honestly, since I'm already installing an unsupported version of macOS, I might as well go with the first option. So we are back at the main menu because I think everything is configured now and all I have to do is select the sixth option, which is to build the OpenCore EFI. Do you want to continue with OpenCore Legacy Patcher? Yes. And now it's downloading a few files. Enter the ID of the codec layout you want to use. Default is 98. Let's just go with the default one. And the OpenCore EFI build is complete. So now I've got this EFI folder and the next steps are right here in the terminal. I need to change a few settings in the BIOS and I also have to do USB mapping. Since changing the BIOS settings will require a restart anyway, let's do the USB mapping first. From what I understand from these steps is that it basically saves information about my USB ports into a file that OpenCore can use later. So I downloaded this USB mapping tool from GitHub, and I think I should go with the D option to first discover my ports. Oh wow, my PC has 26 ports. I didn't know about that. Anyway, let's go back using the B button, and I think this time I have to select the option S, which is for selecting ports and building a text file. Select an option. I guess I should go with the option K, which will build utbmap.txt file. So let's go with K, and done. Text file is saved inside the downloads folder. Now the next step is to move this UTB map file to this path, which is inside EFI folder. So here's EFI, OC, text, and here what I have to do is simply, where's the text file? Okay, here it is. Copy and paste it here. Done. Then the next step is to delete the utb default.txt file. Here it is, and delete. Now I have to edit config.plist file. Use proper tree to open your config.plist. Okay, so I think I'll need some application called proper tree. As expected, I found this tool on GitHub, and now I think all I have to do is type here /propertree.bat to run the tool. But I guess I also need to pass this config.plist file. But where it is, I can't see it here. Okay, here it is inside the OC folder. So let's just drag and drop here and enter. Oh wow, this file has lot of key value pairs. Honestly, I don't want to mess anything up. So I'll leave everything as it is, and let's see what's the next step. Run OC snapshot by pressing Command or Control plus R. So Control plus R. And I think I have to select the OC folder. Since I'm already inside the OC folder, let's click on select folder. If you have more than 15 ports, I don't think I have more than 15 ports, so let's just save this file and close it. And with this, I think I have successfully completed the USB mapping and my EFI folder is ready. Now the next step is to make the installer. No matter which OS you are using, this guide has instructions for every OS. Since I'm on Windows, let's select the Windows one, and I'll need at least a 4 GB USB stick, which thankfully isn't a problem. Now the next step is downloading macOS itself. And for that, I first need to grab the OpenCore package and go into the utilities/Mac recovery folder. I already downloaded OpenCore from GitHub, so utilities and then Mac recovery. And I'm guessing I need to open a terminal here. Now run one of the following commands depending on what version of macOS you want. As far as I remember, I'm installing macOS 15, and here's the command to download it. So copy and paste.
A few moments later.
So the download is complete, and now I have to create the installer. There are 3 different methods here, but I think I'll go with the Rufus one since I already have it installed. And honestly, I have used Rufus way too many times already. It's basically an open source tool used to create bootable USB drives. So I selected all the options exactly as shown in this picture and formatted my USB drive. Now it's time to create this folder on the USB and move the recovery files into it. Wait, the folder is already here. Nice, no need to create it. Control X, Control V. Then I also need to copy over the EFI folder I created earlier. Done. At this point, the USB finally had both the recovery files and the EFI folder, meaning it was finally time to boot into macOS. But before that, I had to still change a few BIOS settings. And let me tell you, just getting into the BIOS took hours. Turns out, with Secure Boot enabled, I could technically open the BIOS, but I couldn't actually see it on my monitor, which meant I had absolutely no way to disable Secure Boot. So at this point, the only option left was resetting the BIOS completely, and that somehow turned into another hour of reading my motherboard manual, downloading an older BIOS version, and pressing this tiny white button with a large screwdriver just to flash the BIOS. But after all of that, I could finally see the BIOS screen. Honestly, after hours of struggling to just get here, changing these settings felt easy. I made the necessary changes and finally booted from the USB drive. What the heck, I don't even see the option to boot to Mac. macOS option not displayed while booting from OpenCore USB. Disable hide auxiliary in your config.plist. Okay, here's my config.plist file. Control F. Oh wow, it works. Hide auxiliary. Next. And here it is. It is set to true, so let's change it to false. And the moment of truth. I do see few more options here, but I don't see the option to boot from Mac. This null is the name of my USB drive, so maybe booting from my USB drive will work. Let's see. Okay, so I'm one step closer. At least it boot up, did something, and I got this error. After a few minutes of extremely professional research, I think I should try resetting the NVRAM. It basically clears temporary settings like the clock and boot order and resets them back to default. I remember seeing an option for that while booting from OpenCore. Yup, here it is. Fingers crossed. Alright, let's try booting again from my USB drive. This has been happening for more than a minute and I think everything is working fine. Yup, there's the Apple logo. So let's install the macOS. It actually went surprisingly smoothly, almost like I was installing macOS on real Apple hardware. First, I used disk utility to format the drive to macOS extended, which is the disk I wanted to install macOS on. After that, all I had to do was accept the license agreement, select the drive, and wait. The installation took about an hour, and during the final stages, the PC restarted itself a few times automatically. And then, macOS was finally ready to use. I went through the setup assistant, created a local account, accepted terms and conditions for the second time, selected my time zone, and finished all the basic setup stuff. Welcome to Mac, and just like that, my Mac was ready. I was genuinely excited, but the excitement disappeared pretty quickly because the entire system was laggy AF. As you can see, the mouse cursor is super laggy, and the moment I open OBS, the entire system starts struggling, and I also have no idea where the wallpaper disappeared to. Now all I see is this plain white background. Turns out GPU acceleration was disabled because my GPU wasn't fully compatible. So I spent my entire evening trying to figure this out. And honestly, at one point I was ready to give up and just install another version of macOS. But then I found OpenCore Legacy Patcher. Turns out I needed to run this patcher inside macOS itself to fix the issues I was having. So I started the root patching process, rebooted the system and hoped it would magically fix everything. It didn't. GPU acceleration was still disabled and I was still stuck with this weird white wallpaper. So after even more tinkering with the config.plist file, I somehow managed to completely break macOS and couldn't boot anymore. Thankfully, I was at least smart enough to create a backup first. So I restored that and added this one boot argument. AMFI, get out of my way. And somehow after that, all my problems just disappeared. So I guess it was the combination of the legacy patcher and the boot arguments that finally fixed everything. Alright, now everything is finally working. I'm getting a solid 60 FPS while recording and there's basically no lag anymore. And honestly, let me tell you, I was really close to giving up on this entire thing. So I'm genuinely happy that I finally figured it out. Even while recording through OBS and playing YouTube video at the highest quality, the system is running perfectly fine. USB ports are working, Bluetooth works, Wi-Fi works, pretty much everything is working now. And if you ever try installing the macOS yourself on non-Apple hardware, trust me, don't give up too early. Half of this process is just randomly breaking things until something finally works. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one and who knows, maybe I'll actually use this Mac for a few days.